Marrakech, the great city in Morocco, which for centuries has been the meeting place of the settled peoples from the plains and the nomadic peoples from the fringes of the Sahara. The nomads bring new energies to the city, transforming its main square into a vast stage. These two, nomad and city dweller, represent two ways of life which from the very beginning have given Islamic civilization its internal tension and its dynamism. The nomads have lost nothing of their pride.
They look for protection to themselves alone, not trusting others. Always armed and watchful, except for brief moments during camp meetings, sleeping on their mounts, they are ever on the lookout for any sign of danger. And townsmen, however much they may accompany them on their travels, will always be dependent on them and unable to do anything for themselves.
The energy of the nomads has repeatedly brought renewal to the civilization of Islam. The superb minaret which has towered over Marrakech for 8 centuries was built when the nomads conquered the city and founded a new dynasty which revived the western lands of Islam. Century after century, the nomads are drawn towards the city, at once repelled by its confusion and restrictions, and attracted by its promise of luxury and wealth.
They do not fear to wander unaccompanied in the countryside or the wilderness, being full of confidence in their own courage and power. For courage has become one of their deepest qualities, and audacity a second nature to them.
In contrast, the city dwellers give the civilization stability.
Surrounded by thick walls, protected by defenses, they live in security and forget the use of arms. Successive generations of such a way of life breed a people accustomed, like women and children, to look to others for protection.
There are few Muslims who do not at times yearn for the desert and its austere and simple life. The Prophet Muhammad himself was only 2 generations removed from the nomads. The first great empire of Islam, the Umayyad Empire, was won by the nomadic Bedouin of Arabia. Its rulers built palaces in the desert. Here their children were brought up in the ways of the nomads, and here the caliphs, whose empire stretched from India to Spain, would spend a part of each year among the tribesmen. The Bedouins still live from the desert. They share with other nomadic peoples in North Africa and the Middle East the long, low, black tents, which are perhaps the oldest of all man-made homes.
A tent flapping in the desert breeze is dearer than this towering house. Wind rustling over the sandy waste, sweeter than all the music of the court.
Now the wilderness is a hard and hungry home, to which such men adapted their nature and character in successive generations. For their livelihood is based upon the produce of camels, and camel breeding draws them out into the wilderness, where the camels graze on the bushes and plants of the desert sands.
In the uplands of Central Asia live the other nomads of the Islamic world. The peoples of Turkic and Mongolian origin, recognized by their round tents called yurts. These are Turkomans near the Caspian Sea. Their tents are covered with hair blankets and walled with reed matting. They are collapsible, and no part is more than a camel can carry. Open ovens in the ground are used to bake bread.
No one has ever eaten better food than what he eats as a result of the labor of the hands. God's prophet David, peace be upon him, used to eat from what he had worked for with his hands.
For all its simplicity, the essentials of Islamic life are present.
The best mosque is nature itself.
The nomads do not merely survive in the desert. They make the best possible use of its resources. From the wool of the flocks which support them, and the dyes extracted from wild herbs and flowers, they have always made beautiful and sought-after products. Carpet weaving is the art of the nomads, for them at once necessity and luxury. The looms on which these carpets are made must be portable, and so the carpets are usually small. The natural dyes improve with use, and will not be at their best until the carpet has been washed several times. This is the usual way of washing carpets in the Islamic world, in the flowing water of a stream. A good used carpet is more, not less costly than a new one. The pile will have settled down. The natural dyes will have become fast. The colors brighter and more harmonious. Carpet making developed beyond the limitations imposed by nomadic life. These are the carpets of the cities. Islam has many great and famous cities. Their arts and learning balance the simplicity of the nomads and complete the civilization. Damascus was the first of the great cities of the ancient world to become Islamic. In the 7th and 8th centuries, it was the capital of a huge empire. The Umayyad Mosque remains from that time. It was thought one of the wonders of the world for the mosaics and other decorations which covered the entire exterior. Only a few of the mosaics remain. The mosaics record the palaces, mosques and houses of Damascus as it was in the first centuries of Islam. In southern Arabia, such cities exist even today. Sana'a in the Yemen Arab Republic is a city such as the first Muslims might have known, the witness to at least 2,000 years of settled and civilized life.
This city of Sana'a makes the weary traveler forget the tribulations of the journey. With its beautiful, tall, ginger-colored houses, wonderfully decorated with patterns in whitewash. The total effect upon the beholder is that it was built by fairies and jinn, and not by human hands. The politeness of its people, their gracious hospitality, and the rhythm of their life enable one to step back into history.
The women of the city wear the veil, whereas a country or nomadic woman usually does not. Veiling is an urban habit, a sign of sophistication. Most of the women wear colorful traditional patterns. Smart black veils are the mark of the young women of the richer families. From a Muslim point of view, the question of the equality of men and women is without meaning.
It is like discussing the equality of a rose and jasmine. Each has its own perfume. Women are not equal to men, but then neither are men equal to women.
At the center of Sana'a is the Great Mosque, founded in the lifetime of Muhammad.
Islam is based on 5 things: the testimony that there is no deity but God and that Muhammad is his servant and messenger, the observance of the prayer, the payment of zakat, the pilgrimage, and the fast during Ramadan.
The city has several large gardens. They are many centuries old, and the need for them was well understood.
The commonest cause of epidemics is the pollution of the air. Leave open empty spaces in built-up areas in order that the winds may circulate, carrying away all the corruption and bringing in its place fresh, clean air.
On the top floor of each house is the mafraj, a room looking out over the city to the open country beyond. Here the men of the family relax. This song tells of the pilgrimage to Mecca.
May your journey back be under the protection of the merciful, the unique and bountiful Lord, like whom there is no other. O you who bring good tidings, bring me the news of their safe arrival to awaken the spring in my heart. O you who prefer the dull life of the town to wide, free solitude, do you despise nomadic tents because they are light, not heavy, like houses of stone and lime? If only you knew the desert's secret. The earth is like musk, even purer it is, and generous too, moistened at dawn and dusk. There we put up our tents in rows. The earth is dotted with them, as the sky with stars. Those who have passed on truly said, and truth undergoes no change. beauty is found in two things, in a verse and in a tent of skin.
Sana'a, with its tall, outward-looking houses, is not typical of Muslim cities today. It is the city of Fez in Morocco which represents the usual pattern of the traditional cities of the Islamic world. The city is built around the shrine of its patron saint, Moulay Idris, who founded the city nearly 1,200 years ago. The Medina, or Old City of Fez, is cupped in a hollow of the surrounding hills. Its high walls stand in contrast to the open spaces of the Nomads. From the main gates, the principal streets lead to the heart of the city. Pack animals are the only means of transport.
The drivers are not permitted to overload their animals. If the Muhtasib finds anyone doing so, that man will be punished.
Even the main streets are no wider than is necessary for two animals to get by each other. Near the main gates are the artisans who service the pack animals. The saddle makers and blacksmiths. All along the principal streets are the caravanserais, each built around a courtyard. Here the animals are loaded and unloaded, goods are sorted and stored, and the drivers can rest. Commercial areas are kept apart from the residential districts, each of which has its local shopping area for daily needs. Quite often in a Muslim family, it is the husband who does the shopping. In each district there is a baker. The dough is prepared at home and brought to him for baking. A Quranic school is also essential for each district of the city. The Holy Book of Islam is learnt by heart. Its words give meaning to a Muslim's life. The important events in an individual's life are marked by public celebration, even amongst the poorest classes. These boys have reached the age of circumcision, and their entry into fuller participation in Muslim life is made known to the district. Away from the noise of the busy streets, narrow lanes give access to the dwelling houses. It is impossible to tell a poor family from a rich by the outside of their houses. Islamic houses are inward-looking. They take their light and air not from the street outside, but from their own inner courtyards. Thousands of courtyards, scattered through the city, are the lungs with which it breathes. In the midst of the noise and bustle of the bazaars, the great mosque of the city provides an oasis of calm. Here one can wash in preparation for the ritual prayer. or rest from the activities of the day. Five times each day, the signal for prayer is hoisted on the minarets, and the call which has been given since the beginning of Islam, God is greatest, echoes over the city.
Allahu Akbar, Allah!
In the traditional Islamic city, there are no factories where industry is concentrated, but thousands of small independent workshops which give the city its manufacturing base. Usually the goods are produced and sold on the spot. Each of the crafts is grouped in a particular area of the bazaar and organized as a guild. The craftsmen work side by side, and skills and prices may be easily compared. But perhaps the principal craft of Fez is weaving. Hundreds of such workshops are scattered through the city, each supporting several families. A single factory could destroy them all. Certain crafts, such as that of dyeing, require particular conditions and are set apart in special areas of the city. Tanning is another such craft. Each skin must pass through many vats. The craftsmen of an Islamic city produce goods which are often of great refinement, and yet their tools and working methods are usually of a simple and even archaic kind. In the modern world, the tool a man works with is often sophisticated, and the man himself relatively unskilled. In Islam, the skill resides almost entirely in the man, and not in the tools. It is as if the craftsman perfects and refines himself together with the material he is working on. For some men, the craft can become a spiritual discipline. The refining of the raw material, an image of the work which a man, no matter how poor and simple he may be, even a humble comb maker, can accomplish in himself and upon his own soul.
It is a pity that an old craft like mine falls into oblivion. My work may seem crude to you, but it harbors a subtle meaning which cannot be explained in words. I myself acquired it only after many long years, and even if I wanted to, I could not pass it on to my son if he himself did not wish to acquire it. This craft can be traced back from apprentice to master until one reaches our Lord Seth, the son of Adam. It was he who first taught it to men, and what a prophet brings, for Seth was a prophet, must clearly have a special purpose, both outwardly and inwardly. I gradually came to understand that there is nothing fortuitous about this craft, that each movement and each procedure is the bearer of an element of wisdom. But not everyone can understand this.
From time to time, the streets of Fez are enlivened by a group of wandering performers. The nomads are not far away, and the cities of Islam are still renewed by their fresh energies.